My friends, welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me. In today's episode, we got some exciting news. This whole story is a tragic story. And almost 6 years later, we're finally going to get some answers for these two young girls taken from this world way too soon. Let's go ahead and dive into the story, why don't we? On February 14, 2017, the bodies of Abigail Williams and Libby German were discovered near the Monon High Bridge Trail, which is part of the Delphi Historic Trails in Delphi, Indiana, after the girls had disappeared from the same trail the previous day. The murders have received significant media coverage because a video and audio recording of an individual believed to be the girl's killer were found on German's smartphone. And now there has finally been an arrest in this tragic case of these poor little girls. So now Delphi, Indiana, very small little town with less than a population of 3,000 people. And with that also being said, it's a very small, normally safe, and a great place that a lot of people like to reside at. And this murder of Abigail and Libby were shocked everyone to their core. And that's why it was getting so much attention. Finally, a suspect has reportedly been arrested in the nearly 6-year Delphi murders case of best friends Abigail and Libby, who were found dead on a hiking trail in 2017. A loved one from Libby's family confirmed the arrest today and said more information will be released at a police press conference on Monday Eastern Standard Time, I think 10 a.m. that morning. You can rest assured we'll definitely be there. And she shared the people worked with him had no clue and were just as surprised as everyone else, a source would tell the U.S. Sun. And according to Fox 59, citing sources, Mr. Richard Allen, 50 years old, has been arrested and booked into the Carroll County Jail on this Friday, October 28th, in connection with the murders. And despite the reporting, investigators have not officially disclosed an arrest or a suspect's name, but of course, you dig hard enough, you find your information. So yes, we do actually have a name, Mr. Robert Richard Allen, 50 years old. And Kelsi German, Libby's older sister, she tweeted on Friday, "Just know how grateful I am for all of you. No comments for now. Any questions, please refer to the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office. There is tentatively a press conference Monday at 10 a.m. and they will say more then." She added, "Today is the day." And that's where these 8th graders, Abby and Libby, they went missing while they were out hiking through the woods near Indiana's historic Monon Bridge on February 13, 2017. Their bodies were found the following day along Deer Creek, about a quarter of a mile east of the Monon High Bridge. Now, how Abby and Libby were killed has yet to be revealed by police. And that's generally because they cannot share any information, because if they give too much information, you know how quickly that can mess up a case big time. And so it is key in that matter that they have to keep their hush hush in it. You know, and what I find that it looks like they've had someone on their radar for quite some time, because in February of this year of 2022, the Indiana detectives that were investigating the 2017 Delphi murders claimed to have new leads in the case and warned their suspect that they knew who he was, but they didn't make any arrests till so many months later. February, now it's almost the end of October, so 10, 11 months, something around there. And so, but better late than never. And so, of course, they didn't say who they thought their suspect was, but that they knew who he was. But they didn't make any arrests. Again, now that is close to 6 years, they finally made an arrest for the 2 girls that went on their hike. And, you know, with that also being said, it's like, come on, these young little girls, I mean, it's hard to trust anyone anymore with this. And so officials have only divulged the girls' bodies were posed and that the suspect undisclosed trophy were taken from each victim. And they did release a little clip of the man who they found to be gone. Investigators released this key evidence in the case where it had photos from Libby's phone and an audio where an unidentified man tells the girls down the hill. Hear this.
Down the hill. Guys. Down the hill. Guys. Down the hill.
And so one of these girls was so smart that they were able to say, something doesn't seem right. This guy's walking towards us. Let's put this on record, or something like that. But in the years since the murders, police have released 2 different sketches of potential suspects. And the forthcoming updates come after Indiana State Police troopers searched the Wabash River in Peru, Indiana last month near the home of a man who is believed to be tied to the investigation. However, at the time, former FBI agent Paul Keenan said there was no coincidence between the search and the murders. And Heartbreaking Mom Speaks Out, Libby's mother, Kelsi German, exclusively told the U.S. Sun last month that death would be too good for whoever murdered her 14-year-old daughter and her best friend. She says, I don't know if what I want to say about what I think should happen to them can be printed, Carrie would say, but I will say death is too good for him unless they bring back the electric chair. I want him to die a slow, painful death. That's for sure. Before such a time, Carrie said she'd want to ask the culprit a series of questions to finally learn what happened to Libby and Abby. And chief among those questions is, why Libby and Abby? Why did these girls have to die? She says. More than 5.5 years later, from her daughter's slaying, Carrie says she feels as though she's no closer to getting her questions answered than she was on the day 1 of the investigation. And what's puzzling about this is so many people were thrown out there as a suspect through this. And the police, I mean, they even got through frustrated. There was this one murder podcast, I can't remember the name of the podcast, who got so much credit for this Keegan Kline thing. And Keegan Kline had nothing to do with this. But my gosh, how internet sleuths can do everything they can to be the problem solver, which I can appreciate, but my gosh, it can make a living hell for people when you throw names out there and then you start prying and prying and prying even further. And so they had pictures of this man, but they couldn't identify him. Nearly 6 years after the murders of Abby and Libby, police have investigated multiple suspects they believe may have been involved in the killings. Now, the land where the girls were killed was owned by Ron Logan. So of course, all the internet sleuths started blaming Ron Logan. If you go through my channel, I never did that. I do not do stuff like that. Police suspected Logan for a while because the alibi of his location on February 13, 2017 was a lie, according to a search warrant. Now, however, Logan was later arrested for violating his probation and sent to prison to serve a suspended sentence and has since died. Investigators also probed Keegan Kline, as I mentioned. Now, they find this is not Keegan Kline. And so, but of course, they're going to do whatever they can to find out, is Keegan Kline behind this? Does he match the pictures? You see, there was a profile that was called Anthony_Shots, and he was a Snapchatter, had a Snapchat account, but this guy, Keegan Kline, who is now awaiting trial in Miami County for child exploitation and child pornography charges, you know, he had this fake account. This is Keegan Kline. Again, Keegan Kline is not responsible for the Delphi murders. And a transcript of the detective's interview with Kline indicated that Libby had contact with Kline's catfish social media titled Anthony_Shots. Kline admitted to using fake profiles on Instagram and Snapchat to lure underage girls into sending nude pictures after cops probed his social media activity in 2020. Now, he was arrested in August of that year after police raided his home and found over 100 photos and videos of underage girls on several electronic devices. Kline is still in custody awaiting trial for those charges. However, he has never been charged or named a suspect in the Delphi murders. And that's why it's key to be careful how we're naming and blaming people for this. But, you know, I get why interneters would do this. I totally get it. You know, and little Mom Williams, she was upset by this whole thing. She was like, why did this happen? She wanted answers. And, you know, rest in peace to these two little girls. And hopefully the family can now get answers. Now that Richard Allen has been arrested for this crime. And you can see the Monon High Bridge trail. You can see Delphi. You can see Riley Park and a lot of where all of this was tied. And this is the Monon High Bridge that I talked about a little bit earlier. And so the police, they had different sketches of this guy that they were, you know, anything that they can put together off of this one little video clip that they had. And of course, they were seeking any information for little Abby and little Libby. And they were looking for any tips. And of course, tips would come in. Many of them, you know, didn't lead to anything. And this was the biggest turn of events that, again, it's terrible what he did, but he had nothing to do with Delphi murder. And he will find his justice in what he did. No doubt about that. But he did his interview. He said he had nothing to do with it. And of course, no one believed him. You know, of course, liars lie. If you're guilty of such a heinous crime, when do they ever confess right away? Right? And so, of course, people want answers for this whole thing because no one knew what happened to these little girls. And now that they have Richard Allen in custody, this is a big win. I mean, it was a matter of time, in my opinion. I personally feel like, you know, most things do get solved over time, but not all of them. Which also left out, like, Is someone going to be held responsible for this ever? We do not need something like this going unsolved. These two little girls deserve justice. And again, all this thing, the cops have so much, and so much to the point that now they seem pretty sure on this arrest. And at the same time, look, Abigail's mother, she wants answers as well. She was heartbroken. This is Abigail's mother, Anna Williams, and she was desperate for the case to be solved after 5 years. She says it's probably the smallest thing, but it's the one thing we're missing, and that's just what we keep hoping for. That one small thing will come to light, and that this will be over soon. Anna Williams, guess what? It looks like now you can find some peace in what has happened, because I know you have gone through the whirlwind of drama and trying to find answers for your little girl and her best friend. And my friends, this is why I say we gotta be alert. Even the girls, they were together as a team, right? They were best friends. They always hung out, and they were even going on this trail together. I believe they were dropped off, and then this happened. And Kelsi German, the little sister, or the older sister, this is where she tweeted, "Just know how grateful I am for all of you. No comments for now. Any questions, please refer to the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office. There is tentatively a press conference Monday at 10. And you know that I will definitely do my best to be on shortly during the live or right after the live." And my friends, I'm Manny Rodriguez, and that is the updated story around the Delphi murder that cops now say they arrested the perp. Justice for Abby and Libby. And my friends, if this is the type of content you like to follow, please hit that subscribe button, click on that like, and hit on that notification bell. That way you get notified whenever I upload content. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to being a voice for more victims. I look forward to serving you guys again. Peace. Have a great day, my friends.